Video shows federal agents deploying what appears to be tear gas canisters into a crowd of protesters at a farm in Ventura County, California.
Oh my God, look it! They're attacking for no reason!
The incident took place at a farm on Laguna Road near Camarillo. Mayor of Oxnard, Louise MacArthur, referred to the location as, quote, a marijuana cultivator in a post on Facebook. Cannabis cultivation is legal in the state of California. The Ventura County Fire Department said they responded to calls of people having breathing problems in the area. A witness told CNN he was tear gassed during the incident, causing his eyes to burn. White House border czar Tom Homan told reporters, quote, they can protest all they want, but they cross the line, they're going to be arrested. Homan did not provide further details about the operation. It's unclear if any arrests were made during the incident.
So ICE agents run up on a cannabis farm in Southern California and start shooting less lethal weapons at folks like tear gas and I assume some rubber bullets. It sounds like gunshots going off at a bunch of folks that are there, who then also notified other advocates and protesters that showed up to confront these guys, because that's going to become the norm. It's been happening, but it's going to have to become the norm. It's just the way these things operate. If you continue to attack citizens, eventually they have to respond. We call that self-defense. The reasons why they feel they can get away with these types of raids, continuing to do so, is because we have people that are in positions of power that are doing nothing about it. As a matter of fact, one of those people is a Democratic senator.
You said this, though, on X, when you sent out, ICE performs an important job for our country. Any calls to abolish ICE are 100% inappropriate and outrageous. You want to go ahead and just expand on that as to where where might that go?
All I'm saying is this. I'm a Democrat and I'm proudly very, very pro-immigration. I'm saying let's protect the dreamers, and I don't want to go after hard-working workers in a lot of our different industries now. And now President Trump is now even talking about developing some kind of a program to allow that things. I'm saying we should round up and deport all the criminals. Absolutely, I support that. You know, I'm a Democrat. I also want to secure our border, and then I think there are two things that must be true: a secure border. And now we have to deport all of the criminals. And I don't believe, we should be going after otherwise law-abiding, hard-working migrants that are very important part of our economy.
There's a reason why John Fetterman went on Fox News to say all those types of things. There's a reason why he went there knowing there wouldn't be a question right after that, saying, how is it that you know they're rounding up? As you said, you hope that ICE continues to round up the criminals. What's the basis for the criminality? Who are the criminals that they're rounding up? Where's your evidence for that? Is there due process going on here? None of that's happening. He's just believing the words of this administration that say what's happening, and you're just supposed to believe it.
What do you think about those who are trying to obstruct ICE and the operations now?
Again, I of course I'm not a part of that, and I would never support if anyone is trying to block, things like that. And that's actually dangerous for everybody involved on those things.
How nasty do you think this could get now that in the big, beautiful bill, you're going from 5,000 ICE agents to 15,000? And those on the far left are going to be ready for those raids even more so than they have been already.
All I'm saying is, I don't really know that, but for me, my views on immigration really haven't changed. But now I don't think our party did a great job on the border before, and then I think making it more secure and deport all the criminals. And now I'd like to remind everybody, calling to abolish ICE is insane, and politically that's ridiculous. ICE is necessary, and as long as they continue to round up all of the criminals, they're doing an important job if that's what they're doing.
Is that what they're doing? If that's what they're doing, I support ICE. And anybody who says we need to defund ICE is crazy. They're insane. They're going off the rails and talking about these folks who are running up in neighborhoods, violently shooting at people and taking people off the streets with no identification or valid search warrants. There's a reason why he went on Fox News, because Jesse Waters, when he's talking about this very same operation where they ran up on these folks and were shooting. There was children there as well too, and at folks that were working at this farm because it was a marijuana farm in California. Jesse Waters is the one who confuses the audiences by saying things like this.
Democrats have been itching for a civil war ever since Trump descended down the golden escalator. They tried everything: Mueller, COVID, Crooks, Alvin Bragg, but nothing's sticking. And the base is going crazy. Federal agents shutting down an illegal cannabis farm staffed by migrants. But hordes of resistors showed up to fight. Agents had to deploy tear gas to clear the road. The standoff has been going on for hours, and feds had to resupply federal agents who were boxed in. The U.S. Marshals were called in for backup, and they've arrested a handful of agitators. One of the protesters was found to be carrying a gun. So far, at least 3 people have been hospitalized. ICE needs more manpower. The big, beautiful bill will give it to them, but in the meantime, these agents are out on an island.
Notice how that works? An illegal cannabis farm in California, which is completely legal in California, these ICE agents are boxed in by these agitators and these protesters coming for them amidst all the smoke that was deployed by ICE agents who are firing less lethal munitions at folks who are standing up for their rights. So again, the only way you get your rights now, when the fascist government that's in place is taking away rights, is to fight for rights. Oh, and someone showed up with a gun. One person showed up with a gun when about 50 to 100 agents showed up with multiple guns. It's weird that he didn't point out that these guys showed up with guns and tear gas and tactical gear and military grade weapons. Those are the guys that showed up with weapons, and someone showed up with a gun, and they're looking for him now, going to try and take him out because he stood up for his rights and exercised that Second Amendment thing that I keep hearing about conservatives always talking about. By the way, this place is what was it? It was Glass House Farms where they ran up and started going after the people who work there. I'm gonna see if you guys can guess if they showed up at the front doorstep or maybe even the office of the people who run Glass House Farms. Here's one of them.
Hi, my name is Ross Gerber, and I'm President and CEO of Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. So I wanted to give an update for investors of where we are with cannabis legalization on a federal level, as well as what issues we're facing and ways that you can get involved. And then what we did was we went out to Glass House Farms and we met with Graham and Kyle, the owners of Glass House Farms, and we did a tour, and we're going to show you this amazing farm that's employed hundreds of people and is a huge contributor to the economy here in Southern California. How advanced and professional these cannabis operations are. Great American businesses, and it's time that they take off the shackles that have been put on them for over 50 years, because the Jim Crow federal cannabis laws need to be reversed.
The Jim Crow federal cannabis laws need to be reversed so that this guy, I keep forgetting his name, who's an investor into Glass House Farms, can make their money. But ICE agents are running up on the farms themselves that are actually out in the nature, and they're going after the folks who are working those farms. So if there is illegal immigrants there that they want to run up on, why don't you run up on the house of that guy who's employing them? It's weird how that doesn't work, doesn't it? Because we're talking about how ICE agents are running up on these farms and they're covering their faces and no one really knows who they are. There's one ICE employee who quit. I don't know if you guys heard about this. He's a 33-year-old attorney for ICE, and he's in their legal department. His name is Adam Boyd. And he decided to leave because he said there was moral issues that he had with being a part of this whole thing. So he said, we still need good attorneys at ICE. There are drug traffickers and national security threats and human rights violators in our country who need to be dealt with. We are now focusing on numbers for all else. I wonder who's pushing them for that. Stephen Miller is that guy. Still another part of this article. Stephen Miller, who's the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, they set a daily arrest quota of 3,000 people. And that puts pressure on ICE agents to deliver historically high figures. That's the only purpose they have here, is to get numbers up, because Stephen Miller is a Nazi. Boyd said he ultimately felt that he had to make a moral decision to leave after watching the agency's priorities change under mounting political pressure. He said it became a contest of how many deportations could be reported to Stephen Miller by December. According to Boyd, ICE lawyers were increasingly frustrated as legitimate cases were dismissed so that officer teams could arrest immigrants in courthouse hallways and push them through fast-track deportation tactics that he says padded stats at the expense of due process. So again, he says there are criminals out there. He says there are people that are dangerous that are running around, and they're not focusing their attention on them because it's just a broad, sweeping approach to getting 3,000 people a day because Stephen Miller is a Nazi.
The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not.